Hey Leah, I'm going to show you and or remind you of stuff from slope. The only thing you didn't really learn was the rise over run part, but I'm going to try to teach you that in this lesson and hopefully it'll work. And then you're going to work on an edge elastic to kind of practice this stuff just so you don't fall too far behind. So first things first is I believe you were in Mr. Pope's group and you guys found the y-intercept. So we had oh, sorry. This all changed. Let's try this. Sorry. Yeah, there we go. Oh, let me turn this off. Okay. We had y equals mx plus b. B, so the last number is the y-intercept. And m was the slope. I believe you were maybe in Jada's group and she taught you the slope from the table. Anyway, so if we look here, this equation right here, the slope is 3 over 2. And -3 is the y-intercept. And you should remember that the y-intercept is where the line crosses the y-axis. So if I zoom in a little bit, okay, here we go. All right, so if we look at this graph right here, the y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis, so it's right here. So my y-intercept is -3. It's actually going to match this equation over here on the right that we just labeled. Now, as far as the slope goes, so for the slope, and you can feel free to write this on your notes if you have them, the thing you need for the slope is you need 2 points on the line. So I have a point here and I have a point here, so it's like really nice already done for me. The next thing you're going to do once you have those 2 points is you're going to do rise over run. So you're going to make a right triangle, and I do my rise over my run. So I go 1, 2, 3 boxes, and I go over 2 boxes. So my slope is 3 over 2. My y-intercept is -3, and then if you notice, that's how we write the equation of the line. So that's how you find the slope of a graph. So let's go to this one real quick while we're still on the graphs. Here, let me put this in. There we go. Okay, so the y-intercept is 2 because it crosses right here. I always use this as one of my points. And then we can use like this right here because it crosses really nicely. So for my slope, you're going to draw a right triangle. You just follow the coordinate grid. And I go 1, 2, 3. So that's my rise. And I run 1, 2, 3. And then you should notice that this graph, the slope, is kind of going at a downward slope. So if it's going like this, that's going to be a negative. If it's going like this direction, that's going to be a positive. So I'm going to put a negative out here. I'm then going to type it in my calculator, and I simplify it, and it's -1. So my slope is -1, my y-intercept is 2, and then there's our equation. Negative, and this is invisible, but -1x plus 2 is my final answer there. So that's how you do the rise over the run. That's the part that you did not get. Now, you should know from the table that you do the formula. Sorry if it's kind of muffled. Okay. So you do y minus y divided by x minus x. You can pick any y's you want. So I'm going to pick this one and this one. So on the top, I'm going to put 3 minus 6. On the bottom, I'm going to take the x's that go with it. So I'm going to do 4 minus 6. That gives me -3 over -2. When I simplify that, it'll give me 1.5 in the calculator, and you just put 3 over 2. And again, this should be something that you were already taught. And then you should see here that the y-intercept is when x is 0. So my y-intercept equals -3. So my final equation is y equals 3 over 2x minus 3 is my final answer. Okay? And then here for the points, we only need to find slope from here. Don't worry about the y-intercept from the points. So I always label these xy, xy. And remember, my formula is y minus y divided by x minus x. So I'm going to do 3 minus 0 divided by 4 minus 2, and I get 3 over 2, and that's my slope. Okay? So if we go and do these, just to double check and make sure you're good, we have y minus y divided by x minus x. Alrighty, so I'm going to pick 0 and -1, okay? So I'm going to do 0 minus a -1 divided by the x's that go with it, so 2 minus 3. That gives me a 1 over a -1, which simplifies to a -1. Now you should notice here, to get the y-intercept, you need to work backward. So I'm going to go back 1 to get 0, so x is 0. And here I'm going down 1 each time, so I need to do the opposite, so that would be 2. So the y-intercept would be 2. Okay, and then if I do the points, I label these xy, xy, and I do -1 minus -2 over 3 minus 4, and I get 1 over -1, which simplifies to -1, and that's my slope. So that's just kind of that in a nutshell. So the hardest part for you might be that rise over run. So try to refer back to this video if you're a little confused. I want you to work on the edge elastic and just kind of see how you do, and then I'll look at the grade and then we'll kind of go from there. All right, I hope you feel better. Talk to you soon.